Hello and welcome to my Prologic Polyphonic alarm review. This is a set of 3 alarms, or it can also be 4, but most of them come in 3, and you also get a receiver. It's a fairly budget set of alarms. I think I paid about $150 for my set of 3 and a receiver, but they can be found now for about £100, I'd say, and on eBay you can get them for much less. So it's a good value set, and they're fairly reliable. I haven't had any problems with them in the year and a half that I've had them. They eat batteries at a reasonable rate, very quickly if you leave the nightlight on, but if the nightlight's off, you get fairly reasonable battery life. It's not years, we're talking about like Delkims or ATTs, but yeah, it's fairly good. I think for the price it's not too bad. So let's give you a bit more of an in-depth review and show you some of the features. Right, this is the receiver. There are 3 buttons on the front. You've got at the top here, it says M, so it's memory. That shows you the last rod that went off. So for me this is the green, which is my right hand. If you look at it reversed, it's the right hand. Then moving around clockwise, there's this button, which is set to vibrate, and then back to noise. And then here, there's the volume button. Self-explanatory, it gets louder. And then it'll cycle around, and it also goes onto silent, which I'm not quite sure about. For a receiver, doesn't really make much sense, but you know. And then on the back there's the volume button, on off, just simple rocker switch. And then at the top there's this little thing, you pull it back, you need to use your fingernails, and there's a little button in there, and you press that, and that's how you program it. So you'll press it, it'll go to the first one, you move the roller on the alarm that you want to program to that colour on the receiver, and it should flash, and then I think you press it again and it goes on to the next one. This is all set out in the instructions, so if you want to know exactly how, then read the instructions. And then finally there's this little cord here that you can attach to, for example, this on your bivvy. So you can have it sit in there if you've got a little ring in your bivvy, and it'll just hover there. Or you can attach it to your belt or something. Very simple, but it's just a nice little feature that you can have. It just makes your life easier rather than having it on a table or in your pocket. Now, onto the actual alarm unit itself. As you can see, it's a black unit. There are 2 sets of LEDs here, both with 4 colours. So when you get a run, it will light up red. Well, that's how I like to set it. I think there's also blue, green and yellow. And then when there's a drop back, this is really clever, you get the other side lights up and you can see that it's a drop back. So you can see if it's just taken it or if it's a drop back, which is quite handy. Lets you know what you have to then do accordingly to react to the situation. The speakers here, there's a sensor there for the nightlight. These can be changed to the different colours. I've got them in just the plain grey because it matches and looks better in my opinion. But you have the 4 colours, so you have red, yellow, green and blue. Then down the side, in fact, hang on, I will cut to those in just 1 second. And then here on the side, as you can see, we have V for volume, so that cycles through a range. I think there's about 6 different settings. T for tone, this is the funny bit of the polyphonics. You can have various different tones. Let's just turn that so you can hear it. 5 or 6 different normal beeps. And then we get onto the funny stuff. There's a dog. I presume that's meant to be a frog of some kind. No, that's the frog, sorry, maybe that was, I'm not entirely sure what that was. Somebody who just had a nice cake. Cat call. It's quite good in the middle of the night, wakes you up. A small child who's amazed by something. Yeah, that's a woman. We won't go there. And they're saying, wake up, slimy fish, which is quite entertaining. Somebody who's saying hello to you. And then back to the normal beep. So that's quite funny. And then we have the S button, which has various different levels of sensitivity. So if it's really windy, you can turn the sensitivity down and you won't get so many false beeps keeping up all through the night. But also then again, if you're fishing quite close to snags, you can turn the sensitivity up a bit, and then just the smallest movement will give you an indication. Here at the bottom, of course, is the power button. Press and hold to turn it on. I think it's 4 seconds. And then it'll give you a beep and the LEDs will light up. And then when you're done, press and hold it another 4 seconds, and then it'll turn off. And if you press it, it will change through to the nightlight settings, and it also lets you change the colours of these LEDs that I told you about earlier. So let's have it on red and nightlight off. There we go. Hang on. Perfect. So that's all the features of the alarm. Now I'll tell you what I think about them. So, I mean, in my opinion, it's a good set of alarms for a beginner. Obviously, it can't compete with the likes of Belkims and ATTs, but on the whole, it's a good set. They haven't let me down, be it in freezing conditions in the middle of winter, heavy downpours of rain, bright sunshine. I mean, not much is going to fail in bright sunshine, but battery life can be diminished. Yeah, the roller's never frozen. It's always given me good indication. One thing I would say is you don't sort of get a one-tone run, which is slightly strange. You just sort of get a succession of beeps, and it goes beep, 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 beep. But it certainly takes a bit. Certainly takes a bit of getting used to. But on the other hand, you can definitely tell the difference between a single beep or a proper full-blown run. It's not that difficult. Take a couple of sessions, but it's nothing too major. I can live with it. But if you definitely want that sort of crazy one-tone nature in an alarm, then these probably aren't things for you. But I mean, I just think they're a good solid pair of alarms, and they do what they say on the tin. They give you a bite indication, and at a reasonably low cost. So yeah, all in all, the Prologic Polyphonics are pretty damn good for the money, and I would recommend them to other people. But obviously shop around, see what deals you can get on other alarms, and I would advocate spending as much money as you possibly can on alarms that you can afford at the time, even if you have to save up a bit, because it's better to buy a nice set of ATTs or Delkims than buy a cheap set of alarms, like £10 with that receiver, then buy a set like this of what I'd call sort of intermediate level alarms, and then go on to buy a really expensive pair, because then you'll have wasted, well, I don't know, you probably lose, I'm going to lose about £70 of depreciation in these if I sell them, which is about half what they cost me, which is not great. And then obviously I had a cheaper set of alarms before that as well, so I'd have lost close to £100 really by the time I bought a nice set of alarms. So, I mean, obviously, if you don't have any money or enough money to buy a nice set of Delkims or ATTs or Foxes, then go with something like this. But I would advocate spending as much money as you possibly can afford on alarms, simply because they're a really important part of carp fishing. And if they go wrong in the middle of the night, then you could lose a rod, just gets dragged in. That's not much good, is it? So, that's been my review. I hope you like it. Leave a comment in the description, leave a comment in the comments section, not in the description, what am I saying, of what you'd like to see me review next of my tackle, and I'll try and do that for you. So, it's been nice talking to you, and I hope you found this useful. So, see you soon.